Hey everyone, this is Jordan with Food Bevy, the online community for food and beverage companies. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Vanessa from Omsom, and she has an amazing story, amazing product, and I'd love to just jump right into it. So Vanessa, why don't you give a quick intro, tell us what Omsom is and why you decide to start the company?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for having me, Jordan. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I'm Vanessa. I'm one of the co-founders of Omsom. Actually started it with my sister. We've been working on it for about 2 years, but we've been in the market for just about 9 months now. Our brand, what we do, basically, we are a new pantry shortcut that allows you to make your favorite Asian dishes in under 30 minutes. Our mission is really to reclaim Asian flavors that have been diluted in the grocery store for so long. And really, we hope to create products that honor and celebrate the communities and cuisines that we represent. That's really what we care about. And one thing about us is that we actually partner with iconic chefs who are of these backgrounds to create the different products, and they receive a royalty on all the sales of that specific product kind of into the future, because we care a lot about kind of equitable compensation, especially of like BIPOC chefs. So that's a little bit about Omsom.
I absolutely love that. And I don't know many brands who are co-creating with chefs and then sharing royalties. So I think that's a great way to actually provide equity in the space, which is so important these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're a very mission driven company. I think at the end of the day, for us, mission isn't just like, words on a job spec. It's like, how can we actually change the way wealth flows and money flows? So that's part of it for us for sure.
So you launched the product about 9 months ago. Talk about what that process was like leading up to launch and some of the obstacles that you faced.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The running towards launch was crazy. I mean, first of all, we're both first time founders, and we love food, but we don't like really have experience operating a food company. So there was tons of learnings running up to it. And to top it all off, we launched in the middle of the pandemic. And it was actually very early in the pandemic. So it was, I think, even scarier because we had no idea what the future was going to look like. So I mean, yeah, I could talk about a million things that, like, some of the things that were really complex for us, I guess, like managing the supply chain in a pandemic. Our product is, we have a really high bar for it internally, and also our chef partners, who are what we call our tastemakers, like, because they cook food in a kitchen, their bar is so high because it's obviously very different to produce at scale in a manufacturing setting. So we had to get really creative with our R&D. Our sourcing was really challenging. We source over 90% of our specialty ingredients directly from Asia, like actually from the country that we represent with the dish. So I think all those components coming together. And then of course on the marketing and branding side, like, we spent a lot of time on our brand and our packaging, our positioning, our voice. Like, we're a deeply intentional brand, and so everything that we do is just like a little bit, I think, more involved and a little bit harder than normally would be, just because we have a, I think, a very high internal bar.
And I think that's so hard because I love that point of sourcing the ingredients from the country that the dishes are from. But as you know, right, like sourcing that at a commercial level and getting that to your production facility, like, it's so tough and causes so many challenges. And most founders end up taking a lot of shortcuts and moving really far away from their vision. And so, yeah, I'm sure you have to take some compromises along the way, but you're able to stick really close to that vision as well. Um, so how did the launching the pandemic affect you in terms of getting sales and getting your product actually to consumers? Did you have to change your business model, or did you launch in grocery, D2C? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So we were lucky in that we had always been planning to launch OMSOM D2C, and so for the pandemic, that was very lucky, because that was a good place to be launching at the time. So and even to date, I mean, pretty much all of our sales have been through our own website D2C, and now we're just starting to think about partners to kind of get OMSOM to more people. So I would say, like, the challenges there were just like delays related to the pandemic. Everything just got slower and more expensive and more kind of complex. But for the most part, I think, like, I think of all the businesses that we could have been running, I do feel very lucky. I think on the marketing side, it was very challenging. We had lot of photo shoots and video shoots set up that all had to get canceled because at the beginning of the pandemic, even all that stuff just went completely dark. So my sister ended up doing all of our recipe videos by herself in her kitchen with a cell phone. Like she was both the food stylist, the chef, the video editor, the
Sounds about right.
videographer. Like, it was just craziness. But at the end of the day, I think we just kind of came back to our mission and like what we intend to do. And we're like, you know what? People need to cook, they need food, and they're going to need a feeling of joy and connection to home, and like that's what we want to bring. So like let's launch anyways, and it worked out.
I think that's an amazing story, and so pivotal on how you adjust and change throughout the pandemic. And thankfully, you were developing it as a D2C business. So I think that's great. One thing I want to talk about, because it's been super top of mind, is that as we're building these businesses, we're not doing so in like a vacuum. We're doing so definitely like within the larger world. And last year there was a huge kind of reckoning on social and racial justice after George Floyd and dozens of others. And more recently, there's been horrible violence against the Asian American community in our country, across the entire country, which is just despicable. How has that affected like your thinking and your business?
This is like one of the best questions I've ever gotten, and I'm almost just like appalled that nobody's asked this before. But thank you for this super thoughtful question that I think hits home, because one, it's like something we think about all the time, and we care about deeply as individuals, as founders, and as like I guess like an Asian American run company, a BIPOC run company. I think this past year has been at once just heartbreaking, but also like so important, and in some ways like has given us like bits and pieces of hope looking to the future of like, okay, now there's more discourse around these really important issues and the like lack of equity in this country. And our company from day one has not just been about food in any way. Like, we started working on this in 2018, and we have always been talking about educating on the multitudes within Asian American culture. One of our core brand values that we made in 2018 was this idea of like rising tides raise all boats, meaning not only do we want to like uplift, like do we believe that BIPOC folks can kind of uplift and amplify each other's missions and stories and companies, but like we mean that not only for Asian America, but we care deeply about all other BIPOC communities. So yeah, this year has been a super challenging year, and we really try to use our platform for good. So this means a couple different things. So one, this means continuing to use our platform to educate. So we talk about racial issues on our Instagram, in our press interviews. We recently did a post about right around the time that like some of the violence against Asian American elders started happening. We did a post that was like, what's true is that like prejudice against Asian Americans has always been around. And what's also true is that like that doesn't make us our communities like, I guess, like uplifting that doesn't put us against any other community. Like it really is, all of us have to rise together. And that was something we like wanted to talk about, for example. Also over 50% of our cap table is actually BIPOC, LGBTQ, or women. And that was super important to us, even in a world of CPG investors that are largely white men. We were like, okay, like we need to go out of our way to make sure that like if we're gonna make people money, we want to make the people and we want to make the people that we make money to be representative of kind of the future that we want to see. So yeah, it's been a huge part of our company from day one. So, I don't think all that much has changed from a mission standpoint, but I guess in terms of like what we talk about, how we build, that is a continuous part of how we do everything that we do. Even like the creatives that we work with, pretty much like I would say like over 95% of our like marketing spend goes towards like creatives that are Asian American or BIPOC.
I think that's amazing. And I think that, that continued reinvestment back in kind of diverse talent that exists in our country and just needs opportunities is really instrumental. And like you said, rising all tides, not just with other companies, but helping other consumers and helping other kind of creatives, which I think is absolutely amazing. So thank you for all your work in doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're just so grateful to have the opportunity to.
So talk about what's next on the horizon for Omsom this year.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so much is happening. Our small team is just like, what the heck? But yeah, some really exciting things coming up. The two I will highlight. Actually, in a week, we are launching our biggest partnership yet with Disney, which is super exciting. I think, like, especially the little girl in me, like, this is her moment, right? Like, I'm so excited.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
we have partnered with Disney to celebrate the release of their first Asian American or Southeast Asian princess. So Raya and the Last Dragon is kind of coming out next week, and it's an awesome story, and the voice acting is done by Kelly Marie Tran, who is Vietnamese American, and we love her. And so we partnered with them to do kind of a limited edition Omsom sampler that has like custom Raya recipes to go with it, and we're super excited to bring that to the world in celebration of this kind of like historical moment for Southeast Asians. And then the other thing I'm really excited about looking to the spring is we are launching the first product of its kind to celebrate the inclusion of MSG as an ingredient. So there have been a number of products that have proudly stated there's no MSG. There have been many products that also quietly include MSG, but just try to like hope nobody sees it on the ingredient deck. We are different. We are putting it proudly and loudly in Omsom fashion, front and center, and we're trying to educate people on the xenophobic origins of the anti-MSG sentiments. And we thought one of the best ways to do that was to put it front and center in our product and like help people see how this is delicious and umami. And we're also partnering with Pepper Teagan, who is Chrissy Teigen's mom, on the release of this product. And yeah, we've been hard at work on that. So that's coming out in the spring.
Oh my God. Like you are doing amazing work and I'm so excited. Like, this is something I talk about with my wife a lot too. So my wife is Chinese American and she actually grew up, her family owned a Chinese restaurant and a couple years ago. And we talk all the time about the, like you said, the xenophobic origins of like the anti-MSG movement, when it's really just like another flavoring and seasoning. But it's come to just resent you create or just represent this kind of anti-Asian sentiment for no reason at all. And I'm so proud that you're being able to like highlight this and promote it boldly and proudly on your packaging to help change that conversation. So I'm all in. I will support and buy it and try it. And so anything I can do to support that would be great. And I think the partnership with Disney is amazing. So keep up the great work on there. Wow, we'll have to check in like a couple months to see how everything's going and what else is new, because this is absolutely incredible. So with that, Vanessa, I want to really thank you so much for being on the show today. It was so great to meet you and talk with you, and wishing you truly the best of success this year.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you so much for the thoughtful questions, and I so appreciate the support and excited to be part of this community.
Thank you.